Hi there, welcome. Welcome to Homekeepers. How wonderful to be here with you. Hey, grab yourself a cup of tea, will you? And join me. And every day I like to just kind of throw out that net that says thank you to those viewers who watch us every day and you support us and appreciate it. And I know, because we hear from you all the time, that we get new viewers every single day. And I am so thankful for that because we're on an important mission here at Homekeepers. And hopefully you know exactly what that means. And we like to deal with anything and everything that affects the home. And that is anything and everything. And we believe 100% when the homes of America are right, and the husbands and the daddies are in the right place, and the mamas and the wives, and they are just bringing up the children in the fear and the admonition of the Lord and teaching them His ways. You know, if that happened across America, it would change everything. So we're doing our part to make that happen. And the Lord sends us such wonderful guests from time to time. And I am very, very thankful and honored to introduce to you a guest today, Dr. Michael Heim. He is a doctor of osteopathy and on the cutting edge of a lot of things. There's so much happening in the medical world today, you can hardly keep up with it. And they're good things. And I think that you who watch us regularly, you know that because of some of the experts that the Lord has sent our way. Well, you are going to love Dr. Heim, so just stay with us. And Stephanie's in the kitchen, and we got something really great to talk about while we fix an oat apple crisp and then put some vanilla ice cream on it. Oh, doesn't get any better than that. Before I join her, though, I want to again offer you Beth Moore's book, Praying God's Word. I've lived quite a long time because most of you know I have 8 great-grandchildren. And I have never, ever seen the church and the people of God pray like they have in the last few months. And prayer works. We are seeing that. And let's pray that it doesn't dissipate at all, that we continue to pray and pray for our nation and pray for those in authority and pray for the peace of Jerusalem and all these things that the Lord has just commanded us to pray for. It's going to help a lot. And Beth Moore, a lot of you know who she is. Powerful, powerful minister of the gospel, and she knows her Bible, and she's written this whole book on prayer, and the Bible deals a lot with prayer and how you pray and the things that'll stop your prayer from going through and this kind of thing. It all comes from the Word of God. So it's yours for that gift of at least $20 to this ministry. The information's on your screen. If you use your credit card or your debit card like Stephanie does, or if you're like me and you still just send checks through the mail, we have an address for you. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758. And also the address. Yes, I've said it a few times. Yeah, you said the address. I said the address. Okay, the phone number is 1-800-229-0059. If you knew how it smelled here, your mind would go too. So, but we're going to talk about something.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell them, or do you want
to? I'm not bragging. I'm just sharing, right? Okay, because you want to talk about this, not really me.
Yeah,
so
I asked her if she would, because she's very, very willing to tell her life story. She went on, 6 weeks ago?
It's been a couple months.
Decided she wanted to lose a few pounds. I said, when can we talk about it? She said, when I lose
25.
25. She's lost it. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, that's no small thing.
Losing weight's hard.
Well, I just congratulate you.
Thank you.
I've watched her, and if you've noticed, sometimes she doesn't taste the stuff.
Yeah, I won't, not even a nibble, because I know my willpower is 0, and one nibble will turn into a plateful, and I just can't do that right now. So.
I got this email from a lady who got one of our recipes, that easy taco soup thing we did. She said, why don't you know that the taco soup that you and Stephanie made last week on your show, I took it to the senior life group at my church, and everyone loved it, and they all went back for seconds. And one lady asked for the recipe. Now, there's the tough crowd.
Yeah.
It's the church group. Because
all they get all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, all the women in the church, they try to outdo each other and all that. So That's a really
Well,
good
this will be
endorsement.
another one that you can take for your
Yeah.
church group, and it will be very much
Let's
loved.
fix it. What do
Okay,
you-
so you're going to spray the pan first, and then you're going to cut up some apples.
Okay.
Okay, I've already sliced, peeled, and cut up some apples. The one we made earlier, you grated the apples.
grated it.
just to see what the difference would be.
So
and
we'll
then
have to
this
let
one
you
we're
know
just
maybe
cutting
on
to slices.
another program.
So we cut the sugar in half. It called for a cup of sugar. We're using a half a cup of sugar just because we can in this recipe. We have cinnamon and baking powder, and baking soda. That's baking soda and powder together. Baking powder. Okay, so I'm just mixing the sugar, the baking soda powder, and cinnamon together.
I think I mentioned once before that I read this article that on any recipe you can really cut the sugar way back.
On most, yes.
It's not going to affect the texture, that kind of thing. So we cut this back a half.
Especially because this is a topping. The sugar goes in a topping, so that definitely. Okay, so I put the apples in the sprayed pan. Now I have a third of a cup of butter. I have a yellow cake mix. I have brown sugar, oats.
Do you want these slices?
Sure. They can go in here. Thank you.
Apples are meant for
Oh gosh, so
just
yummy.
use them. You know, in the fall when they come out.
Yeah. You can put those in the pan if you want.
When I was a
And
kid,
brown sugar.
we had a crabapple tree. Do you know what that is?
Sure.
They're little tiny apple.
Yeah, they're sour, aren't they?
I was a kid. I don't think so. My mom made crabapple jelly, and that yard also had 3 peach trees
Oh gosh, how wonderful.
and a plum tree. And the peaches I ate then are a lot different than the one you taste today. They've lost something.
Oh, for sure.
And
Everything they
of course,
add
they
now.
weren't sprayed with any poison or anything.
Yes.
We never washed them. We just took them right off.
So you're just going to put the sugar, baking powder, soda, cinnamon over that. This is just, I'm cutting in the cold butter to this to make a little crumble.
Well, I
Okay.
thought the fascinating thing about this one was that cake mix.
Yes, makes it simple. Okay, and then we just have some water that we're going to drizzle over, 1/4 cup. I didn't do it with that one because those apples were so wet.
Yeah.
I didn't do it, but for this one I will.
But also, we're experimenting because we're such professionals.
And if you believe that, no.
So these are Fuji apples and these are Granny Smith.
And those are grated, and these are sliced.
And we'll have to let you know on another show.
Then you just pour this over the top.
Ooh, this is hot.
I knew it was gonna be.
It is really hot.
Steaming.
Then you put a little ice cream on it.
There, that'll help with the hotness.
Yeah.
Yeah, this pan probably could have been maybe a little bigger, I don't know. And then you just bake it. Then you bake it for 45 minutes.
I'm afraid to taste this so hot.
Well, get a good,
Get some ice cream.
yeah,
Don't want to talk to the doctor with,
a burnt tongue.
Yeah.
You just talk, no.
yeah. Ah,
You can't go wrong.
no, you
You
can't.
just can't.
It's awesome. It really is. If you would like to have this recipe, it's absolutely free. Email me, and we'll email it back to you. Or if you don't do that, if you don't have a computer, write to me. Just send us an envelope with your address and a stamp on it. We'll get it right out to you. And this is called Oat Apple Crisp Recipe. And you will love it. You see, it's pretty big too. So something that you probably have for a couple of meals with. And so that information is coming up on your screen. Get it, and then I will be very pleased to introduce to you Dr. Michael Heim. Stay with us.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, just write to the address on your screen, or you can email your request to arthelene@rippy.org.
Well, I am pleased to welcome to the program Dr. Michael Heim, doctor of osteopathy And so glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, full disclosure, I know your wife since she was that big.
Just a little bit, right?
Yeah, she was really a baby. And she's an attorney today.
Yes,
so
she is.
I call you a power couple.
Yeah, she's the power side.
Yeah. She is a very sharp gal, and I would be very happy to have her represent me.
Absolutely.
And not be against me in a
Right.
courtroom, yeah.
I
yeah.
agree.
And 3 children, so
Yes, ma'am.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you always want to be a doctor when you were a little boy?
No, I sure didn't. I didn't plan on going to med school until after I graduated from college, actually.
No kidding.
In college, I kind of studied what I enjoyed and what I was fascinated by, which was nutrition. I did my undergraduate in nutrition, and then after graduating, I worked for a few years in that field and decided I wanted to continue on with my studies, and then I went back to medical school then.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact, and my viewers do too, that we can educate them along the way, and you certainly educate me, the difference in an MD and a DO.
So there's basically 2 types of medical schools in America. There's osteopathic and allopathic gets an MD, and osteopathic gets a DO degree. Anymore, the training is pretty much the same in terms of the basic training we get. What's different in osteopathy is we tend to take more of a holistic look, and we also are trained in manual medicine, so we do manual manipulation on the neck, spine, extremities, those types of things.
It's kind of like a chiropractor.
Exactly, yes. Manual medicine is a whole spectrum from physical therapy to chiropractic to osteopathic techniques.
Well, I'm pulling from my memory way back when my husband was alive. I was a pastor's wife, and you deal with people when they're sick, and you meet their doctors and so forth. And it seems like I remember back then that the DO, we can look back now and say, well, they were ahead of the curve because you took a more holistic approach. When the MD, basically it was handing out a prescription or surgery or something like that.
Right. Unfortunately, in Western medicine, that's how we're trained now. It's almost a cattle call in most offices. You spend an hour in a waiting room, you spend 5 minutes in an exam room, and then you leave with a prescription. And certainly there's a time and a place for medication, but it's interesting how the osteopathic philosophy is starting to come back full circle with more natural treatments, alternative type treatments. And that's really taken off in the last 10 years and continues to grow.
We're going to put the doctor's website up. He has a practice in Tampa, Florida. And you do some of the things that we have a doctor come on, Dr. Young from Pinellas County or Hillsborough County, but I see some similarities. And if that is something that's happening in medicine, it's really a wonderful thing.
It really is. Regenerative medicine is kind of the new term for what we do. We now have treatments that actually help the body regenerate itself. When I went into medicine, I really didn't go into give pills for everything. I really feel that our body has a way of healing itself if you give the body the tools it needs.
Right.
And that includes nutrition and sleep and balance in life, spirituality. That's your foundation for everything. But now we have things like platelet-rich plasma and stem cells and great nutritional supplements, like Dr. Young's supplements. That gives our body the tool to heal itself. And that's really what people want these days.
It's sure the feedback that we get here, and some of the doctors that we've had on, from this little perspective, which is nowhere really in the medical world, but do you see just a tiny bit of a trend in that direction?
I would say it's much more than tiny.
Oh, good.
There's been almost a seismic shift in some areas in medicine, regenerative medicine in particular. We're still trying to turn an ocean liner, and that's not going to happen overnight. But people are seeking out treatments other than medication, surgery, the traditional treatments we typically give in America.
It's sad but true. I know it to be true. I saw the statistics that America is the most drugged up nation in the world. What a disgrace for the United States of America.
It really is. As much wealth as we have, as much knowledge as we have in this country, the fact that we're not leading the world in health is a disgrace, because from a health perspective, we're way down the list.
I think you mentioned to me when we were talking earlier that obesity can take us down. It could take us down as a nation.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that earlier. You know, our children are becoming obese at such a young age, and the big problem with that is diabetes. We talked about that a little bit earlier. We're seeing young children become diabetics at a very early age, and the ramifications of that long term are absolutely devastating.
I know that. Okay, I'm really excited, but I want to about your stem cell thing. We'll get to that in a minute. Do you do this vitamin C infusion?
We do. We have an IV room in our office, and we offer a whole host of services. Vitamin C is one of them. We do high dose vitamin C, which can help from everything from just...
Yeah, I was going to ask you, why would I need it?
Well, there's a lot of reasons people do nutritional IVs. Some people, you know, as we age, we just don't absorb nutrients as well as we used to. Some people have stomach issues, like irritable bowel syndrome, things like that, that they just can't absorb the nutrients they need. So that's a great way to get high doses of nutrients right into your bloodstream so it doesn't have to pass through. We treat cancer patients as an adjunctive treatment to traditional treatment. It helps them get through their treatments better. You know, when you give someone chemotherapy, for instance, it wrecks their gut and they can't absorb anything. So it makes them feel a ton better. It helps them tolerate treatment better. But we also treat colds and flus. You know, high-dose vitamin C infusion will help you get over those types of illnesses much quicker.
Yeah, and you use the term regenerative. That says a lot.
It does. It does. It's the most exciting area of medicine right now. It's evolving so rapidly, it's almost hard to keep up with it. I probably did a couple hundred hours of continuing education last year, and every time I go to a new seminar, there's something brand new that is being done, particularly in the area of orthopedic medicine. So instead of doing knee replacements and shoulder replacements and those types of orthopedic surgeries, we can inject solutions that we are now seeing actually help your body regenerate cartilage.
No kidding.
Absolutely, yes.
Because when you hear about the arthritis problems, and I hear about them, I thank God I'm doing pretty good. But in my age bracket, I've got a lot of friends who've had knee replacements and so forth. And are you talking about stem cells?
Stem cells is one treatment. You know, stem cells is kind of the top of the chain. I don't typically start there unless someone is very severe. You know, platelet-rich plasma has been around for a while, and that's a product that we get from your own blood. We pull your blood out, we spin it in a centrifuge, and separate out the platelets, which are your healing blood cells. And then we can inject those back into an arthritic knee, for instance, and it helps to regenerate that knee. You know, none of it is a magic bullet. I have a great colleague that likes to describe our treatments as tending a garden. You know, just because I inject something into your knee doesn't mean your body has everything it needs to heal it. So you have to lay a foundation and tend that garden with vitamins, with minerals, with proper sleep, with exercise, with stress reduction. So the body works as a whole. It heals itself on its own terms, but we now can help that along quite a bit.
Boy, it sounds so much better than taking drugs.
Absolutely.
My doctor's disgusted with me because I've turned down every drug that she's prescribed. I'm still here. So I think it's a good idea for people to be educated about their own body and get some facts. And I'd be the first one to take it if I thought I needed it. But I think sometimes they say, oh, well, your cholesterol's here, so we're going to give you this. And as we've learned on this program, that your brain actually needs some cholesterol, and so
absolutely,
you're working against nature. Now, I know you do some stem cells. In fact, in that category, there's different things than stem cells. You get something from the human body that you re-inject, but I want to talk about stem cells for a second because I'm a mother of a diabetic and a great-grandmother of a little girl that has it. And boy, that broke my heart when I heard that because I know what's ahead. Do you believe, have you seen anything that suggests that stem cells could be the wave of the future for diabetics?
I think within our lifetime, we will cure things like that with stem cells, and we're close.
Praise God.
Yeah, we're very close. The FDA just approved placental-derived stem cells, which are very convenient. We don't have to do a surgical procedure to take them out of your body. We're seeing great gains in a lot of areas that we didn't expect. I've worked in some clinics in California, for instance, that will put them in an IV, and they're starting to see changes in things like macular degeneration, which is
You're
a terrible
kidding.
condition.
That gives me goosebumps.
Yeah. Stem cells will make a lot of what we do obsolete within our lifetime. I truly believe that.
And so you said they come from the placenta, the umbilical cord or anything like that?
Right, the placental tissue, so they're donated.
So they're not taking the baby?
They're not taking the baby. These are donated from a mother, typically after a C-section, and they are processed in a way where they just remove very potent stem cells, very young stem cells, which is the key.
Those are the best, right?
Those are the best, yes. So my old stem cells are not nearly as good as what you can get.
Mine are older than yours. A lot older.
So they are processed in a way that is similar to if we were to transfer an organ to someone. So there's actually no DNA in them, so there's no chance of rejection.
So you don't have to take anti-rejection medicine?
That's correct. It's very convenient, it's very easy to do, and that is a new development which is so exciting because it really takes the need to do a surgical procedure basically to get stem cells out of a patient.
Boy, that is really thrilling because if you've had a diabetic in your family, it's a curse. It's just a horrible. My son has had it since he was 12, and I've never seen anybody with such. He's never complained, ever. I've never heard him complain. Had a kidney transplant and everything, but I see how that takes a toll. And he has a pump that pumps the insulin in all day, and also I think he takes about 20 pills a day for anti-rejection of that kidney, and with such grace. But as a mother, you'd love to see him free of all that.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, it's been several years ago that I read of some very successful tests in Canada of juvenile onset diabetics having the stem cell treatment, and they're off of all insulin.
Right. That research is ongoing all over the world. It's been.
Why don't we do it here?
Well, it's been held back a little bit because of the embryonic stem cells that were all outlawed back in the Bush administration. But now that we don't need that,
you don't need
stem
that
cells, which we shouldn't be taking them from them anyways. That research is going to explode in the United States. There's a great group out of California in the orthopedic realm that have MRI evidence of cartilage regeneration in knees from stem cells.
That's huge.
Yep.
That is huge.
But they're being used for heart failure and lung disease, certainly diabetes. We don't have it all figured out just yet, but it is coming, and it's coming soon.
Do you think the FDA is a little bit slow on some things?
They are. It's a typical government bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They're doing the best they can to look out for Americans. They want us to have safe medications and safe procedures. But the flip side of that is sometimes it takes us a long time to get things approved. Yeah,
because sometimes you hear of things in Great Britain, Canada,
right,
and other parts of the world. I heard of something the other day from the Netherlands that was just quite impressive in medicine. It's not allowed here.
Right. Yeah, there are. The professional athletes are one of those populations that you hear about them all the time going to other countries to have treatments because they can't get them done.
Probably for their knees
and knees, shoulder injuries, whatever they have. But more and more they're able to stay in the States and get good treatment. So it's coming.
Yeah, if you just tuned in, I'm talking to Dr. Michael Heim, and his information is on the screen. You might want to write it down. He's in the Tampa Bay area. That's where his practice is. And I don't know about you, but I just almost get goosebumps when I think of how quickly this is moving along, and that whole idea of stem cells. And you know what it tells me? The Bible says, King David said in the Psalms, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And the more science gets into that, it looks to me like the body was meant to heal itself.
Yeah, there's no question. We were created to be able to heal most of what happens to us. Unfortunately, we kind of poison our bodies, especially in this country, with the things we eat, with pollution, with stress, with no balance in our lives, and that makes it a lot harder for us to heal. But if you can tend that garden and give the body what it needs, it'll heal itself in most cases.
Have you had any clients who maybe took quite a few different meds and they could gradually eliminate them?
I've had quite a few. That's what I've tried to do my whole career.
Really?
And like I
I'm
said,
with you on that.
Yeah, there's a time and a place for medications, but when you start changing a lifestyle for good and putting the right things in your body, it's amazing how it will respond. Losing 25 pounds, for instance,
Yeah.
what that does long term for you is amazing. Body fat is not this benign mass that just sits in your body. It actually secretes bad hormones and things like that. So anything you can do to improve your health will also help you recover from most illnesses.
Yeah, and food and water, a lot of fresh stuff,
Right.
and sleep.
Yeah.
A
Sleep.
lot of healing goes on during sleep
Absolutely.
time, doesn't it?
And insomnia is in this country, it's almost it's called a pandemic. I mean, it's one of the most common complaints that I get is poor sleep, and it's because we're so overstimulated in this country. We drink too much caffeine. We work too long. We have no work-life balance.
And we have too many
too many
devices.
video games, right? So one of the hardest things for me to tell my patients is to slow down and unplug from their daily lives. We don't know how to do that in this country.
That's so true. And Scripture said, "Be still, be still, and know that I am God." There's a few things as restorative
Right.
as that. I want to get back a little bit to the joint thing, because that really is a part of getting older. Is it true in every nation? Does everybody's knees go bad?
Well, we all degenerate. We hit a point in our lives where it's kind of a downhill slide. And in regenerative medicine, I talk about the garden. We want to make sure hormones are optimized. We want to make sure nutrition is optimized. The more you can do those things, the less degeneration you have. We can't stop the aging process yet, but we can certainly slow it down.
Oh, yeah.
Some people are predisposed to having bad knees, but a lot of it's what we do to ourselves.
I'd want to go your route first. I have friends who have had stem cell in their knees and it worked. And I've had them who had the knee replacement and it worked. We are out of time, but come back and see me again, okay?
I would love
I'm
to.
so fascinated with this subject. And I'm so glad to bring this kind of information to you. That's one of the beautiful things about the media and about Christian television. We like to help you have that abundant life. That's what Jesus wanted for you, and I think that includes health. I think it includes enough money. I think it includes your relationships, all those good things. So we try to keep it coming to you. So please join me next time, friend, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.